Hey guys, welcome everybody to Sabre Education Experience. Today we have the incredible Carley Canham, who is going to be sharing some of her perfectly imperfect tips to give you those amazing balayage looks and experiences and great technique work. So handing the comb over to you and off she goes. Step aside, take charge.
Alright,
Thanks Carley.
Thanks John. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us today at Sabre Education. So basically what I'm going to run through today is 3 simple techniques to give a beautiful seamless blend whenever you're doing a balayage. I will also be touching on the difference of the balayage sisterhood, so what's the difference between balayage, ombre and sombre, just so you have that language to use in salon and you come across very professional. So from here, the 3 techniques that I'll be running through today is your foilage, your foilage tease and weave, which is your safe-proof option if you're a little bit scared of your freehand technique, and then our freehand, so our painting on. So for us hairdressers that, you know, are a little bit more of a dinosaur out there and used to our very structured foiling ways, we need to throw that away, and now it's all about visual and being hands-on and creating a seamless blend. So balayage, let's talk about balayage. So balayage, what we're trying to do is we're trying to imitate that beautiful sun-kissed blonde, okay? So a balayage really shouldn't stray too far from 2 levels in lightening, because we are chasing a natural look. So balayage is derived from the French word meaning to sweep. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing when we do our application, is we're sweeping color onto the hair, okay? So when you're doing this as well, I want you to keep in mind that you don't want to add pressure. It's just a softness. So we're feathering, we're sweeping, we're being very loose with our wrist, and we want that soft blend, okay? And it's all in your application and in your arms. And I'll talk about arms in a second. So balayage, the sisterhood. We have balayage, we have ombre, and we have sombre. So let's have a little look over here. I've just printed some off just so you can understand what I'm talking about when it comes to balayage. So if we look at our first picture in here, we can see that the blend is absolutely beautiful. So you should never be able to see a start and finish line. So it shouldn't be striping a balayage, it needs to be seamless. You can also see that there's only 2 levels of variation here. So this is a very natural look, okay? Then we move over here, and this would be our sombre. So in our sombre, we have done this model here, and this was in salon training as well with Joico. We have toned it with 2 different toners. We've used her natural as the base color, then we've melted into a level 8 in here, and then we've selected areas down in here, down into our level 9. So you can see there is 3 tones of color in there, and that is a sombre. So a sombre has your 3 tones of color, and it's going from dark, medium to light. Moving on from there, we have our ombre. So our ombre is where we can get as creative as we like. It will be going from really dark to really light, and as you can see here, we're at a level 4 here and a level 9 on the ends. Looking at this picture though, guys, whenever you're trying to create balayage, sombre or ombre, we're still doing the same technique. So it just depends on what you're going to be mixing in your lightener and what you're trying to achieve in your end result, okay, as to how you get it. But the technique that you learned today is still the same. So again, ombre is very severe, dark to light. You have your sombre, dark, medium, light, and then you have your balayage, your sun-kissed, natural. Okay. All right, so I hope that's helped you for when you're educating your clients as to which is which. All right. So today what I'm going to use in my products, I'm going to be using my Blonde Life powder lightener. So this is our Blonde Life powder lightener here by Joico. So with this gives up to 9 levels of lift. This is my absolute favorite lightener, I love it. If timing is of the issue though, guys, when you're learning this new technique, or if you're an apprentice and just timing isn't on your side in general, please lower your developer. So I would suggest using a 10 bowl and then moving forward with 20, okay? It's very rarely that with Blonde Life I've had to use 30 and 40 volt. I probably would never use 40 volt, never seen the need to, but my go-to is 20 volt, and I've used 20 volt just in here on this today. So this mannequin head here was actually pre-colored as a base color using our Lumi-Shine Liquid Demis. So our Lumi-Shine Liquid Demis give an amazing gloss, as you can see. It's absolutely beautiful. This is 7N with 6NW. It's gorgeous. And on top of that as well, it is ammonia free, so pH balance, and it also has your Argiplex. So the Argiplex technology is going to restore the arginine amino acid, which is depleted during coloring, and it's going to give you twice the shine. So as you can see here, gorgeous colors and great for toning as well. So demi-permanent color. I've also used your Lumi-Shine Liquid Demis here as well in my toner, and I've toned this in here with an 8N. So beautiful, beautiful results. I wanted to keep it on the warmer side, guys. All right, so they're the products. That's a rundown. If you guys have any questions during this, please feel free to call out. We've got Abby on the phone there helping me out, and we've got Dunk to the side there that's going to be asking questions. But please, guys, we're here to help. All right, so that's probably enough talking about that. Let's get into some sectioning. So this is a really simple sectioning pattern. In here, I have used 5 simple sections. I have used 2 down the bottom here, the 3rd on the top, and then I've gone in diagonal. So the areas in which I go diagonal is at the bottom here. I go in on a diagonal back. Then I also, when I'm moving around the face, I will go again on that diagonal back. So I've done a little bit of face framing because that's the in thing at the moment of, you know, highlighting the face and bringing light to the face. So that's what I've done there, and that was freehand around the front, sorry. And then in this crest here, from your crown to your O-bone, I have gone in, and this is where you'll see me do the foilage, tease and weave. So basically, guys, if you're not getting the freehand technique and you don't, and you're not comfortable with it, please use your foilage, tease and weave, because this is your safe-proof option, okay? I also use this technique when I'm bringing the blonde up. So someone's come in, their balayage has grown out, their blonde is now sitting down in here and they want to bring that blonde up. I will use a foilage technique because it gives me more control on where I'm applying the color, okay? So another sectioning pattern that I would do, is over here on this mannequin head. So I've only sectioned her up so you guys can see it. So in here, again, I do my diagonal backs. In here, I do my tease and weave. So this is my foilage, and this is my veil. So whenever you hear me talk about a veil, it's over the crown, and it's anything that falls over the top of your head, okay? And again, it's over the part line as well. So you can see I've taken a horizontal part in here, and I would actually go through here and do my foilage, tease and weave for a beautiful blend. So this would be my veil, guys. Yeah? Any questions there?
No questions yet, but we've got Carley Canham is saying hello.
And then we have also my diagonal sections through here on the sides. Okay? So again, if you need to see this later on, we can like maybe do a screenshot and we'll post it up. We'll take photos and post them up online as well so you can refer back to them. All right, so let's get started. Dunk, if you want to mix up my blonde light for me, that would be great. So I'm just going to work here on this section. I'm going to move this out of my way now. I obviously, just with timing, guys, I wanted to keep timing down, and that's why I pre-did my mannequin head. So another little thing as well, whenever I do any color, I like to have a wet towel on hand. So that way, if I get messy, I've got this either to fix the client up or to fix myself up. I have my rescue.
Very handy.
It is very handy. So So
Okay,
I have mixed my lightener today at a mixing ratio 1 to 1.5. With Blonde Life, you can mix it anywhere between 1 to 1 and 1 to 2, and I like to go smack bang in the middle. So 1 to 1 will give you a stronger level of lift, but it can also dry out too. So you've just got to be mindful of that. Whereas 1 to 2, we're a little bit more creamier, and sometimes it's up to you on which way you like to go and your consistency. But I find I like it just a little bit thicker, so when I'm applying, it's not going to transfer as much. It will stay where it's told.
We've got Jessie Harris is saying hi as well. She's excited.
Hello.
We're excited too. Okay.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, so look, I've swallowed her up obviously for a little bit too long, so we've got a natural wave happening here, so this is good.
We might actually just come this way, Carls, just for better
Yeah.
light.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, great. So, another tip, always move your client's head to where you need it to be, okay? They may be, a little bit uncomfortable for a second, but you do this day in and day out, so you need to make sure you're looking after your back. Okay, so from here, I'm going to use our Defy Damage. This is liquid gold, love it. This here is our Pro Series 1. And this is going to shield and protect the hair during any chemical service. So you can use this on lightening, you can use this on any permanent, demi-permanent, semi-permanent. You can also use this when you're, say, doing a perm or even straightening. We have agave as well at Sabre, and I team this up with agave, and I have had the best results teaming them two together. So try it out, guys. When you're doing it, and this is coming from someone who's quite heavy-handed, please don't be heavy-handed with it. So you don't need to be too fine with your sections either whenever you're doing it. I like to use my Eve as my little holder for my clips. So when we're coming in here, what you want to do is always shake before you bake. And it's in light bursts. Just like that. We get our comb and we comb it down. Now a little tip here, guys, and you've probably heard me say this for my clients 1,000 times, is make your clients become involved in this journey. So I, in salon, will actually get my clients, or say my models, to touch their hair before I spray it. Why? Once I've combed the hair and I have my Defy Damage in it, they are amazed straight away at how soft and shiny the hair is. So this is a little bit of a salon hack. When you're in salon and you've shown them that, you don't even now need to try and sell the Defy Damage shampoo and conditioner, because this, making them a part of the journey, has just sold the product for you. Okay.
It's a good tip.
Yeah, it works well.
Mm-hmm.
Carly, with the Defy Damage, one thing, so with that smoothing, the smoothness it gives to the surface of the hair as well, do you find that makes it easier then for your application?
Yeah,
when
definitely.
you're doing freehand?
Yeah, I find that what it does is the Defy Damage Pro Series 1 will help to even out the porosity, so you're getting a better even lift, okay? Which is, look, whenever we're blonding and lightening, that's exactly what we want. Okay, so I've taken a diagonal back in here, guys. I now get my section. Now I don't want to go too thick with this section. I should still be able to see my hand or my arm underneath that section, okay? So I'm bringing it in and I'm keeping the section into like a triangle, and I'm keeping that nice and flat, okay? So what I do here, you have two ways in which you want to do this. Sorry, Abby. I'll just bring that towel over this side. You can either get the product, apply it to your hand, clean your brush. Now, when you're doing this, don't lose your tension. So it's all in the tension, guys. For a clean application, keep that nice, strong tension. Go straight in on that vertical and drag, okay? So you want a nice little shelf like this, and this is going to create my arms, and it's only on one side. I now sweep, so the same side the product is on is the side that you apply. I sweep that just down on the side there. I reload, and I go again, sweeping on the side there. From here, I get my shelf and I create a W. Now, what I want to do is I want to fan this out. So you can see in here, I'm working actually on my saturation down in here. Now, this is one of the most important parts, okay? So I'm quite happy with that. What you want to think about is when you're doing this is picture a snowy mountain and how the ice is trickling down and it's all uneven, like an imperfect zigzag. That's what we're creating, okay? An upside down snowy mountain. I then get the full length of my pinky and I will smooth this out. So this is like icing on a cake. If you go too hard and heavy, guys, you're going to widen your arms and then we get stripy. So you want to do this just to smooth. So like icing on a cake, we're just smoothing, all right? So I just go towards the scalp here. And see how that has now softened my lines. Can everyone see that?
Looks great.
Yep. So from here, I'm now just going to keep painting this all the way down. I'm not touching that. I'm happy with that and I leave that alone. Now, always, when I'm training in this, I find people want to go in and do this on a horizontal. Please don't do that. What you'll do is you'll push product to the other side and there'll be a horizontal line underneath. Stick with your vertical and feathering. So that way I'm really big on prevention is better than cure. So let's make sure we prevent doing that and creating lines and creating bands, then we don't have to deal with it at the end. However the product is on the hair is how it will lighten. So if there is anything that you can see that's a miss, we need to address it here and now, okay? Now I pop this on my hand. Again, I'm not going up near my blend and I'm coming down in here. Okay, so remembering when you're doing this as well, guys, that foil will always conduct heat and will give you a greater lift. So what I actually do is you can do it in two ways. If I was to do this, say freehand and leave it hang, I would actually get scissor fingers, go underneath my arms again, and I'm just smoothing and dropping that down. And then always clean your hands in between so it doesn't transfer anywhere that you do not want it. Okay? Now, if I wanted to conduct heat and want a better lift, what I'd actually do is do sandwich foiling. And I'm sure all of you guys, sorry, my comb was just blended into my trolley. I'm like, where's it gone? So what I want to do here is I put this just on there. And the way in which I just come down in here like this. Again, I'm not touching my arms. I grab my foil, I put this on top, and I'm not going near my arms again, yeah? If need be, that should hold. If need be, and you're a little bit conscious about it falling out, you can put a slight fold, just in that top, and that will hold, okay? Again, you can see, look how loose that is up on that top part because I don't want to interfere with what I've just done. Do we have any questions?
Nothing as yet, but so you're obviously trying to get the greatest lift on the end, is what you're saying there.
Yeah. So you know, I was going to say, you know when you see someone and they're quite light on the end, we would actually do this application back to back. So I want to create a natural to marry up with what I've done on the other side, but if you want more saturation on those ends, do this back to back. Now, when you're doing it back to back, I would do a combination of your foilage, where you're teasing it and applying, which I'll show you up in here, and freehand. Why? Because that guarantees I'm creating highs and lows when I'm applying. If I go in at that same point every time, and I only have those little arms to blend, I'm going to end up with something like this. So guys, I haven't done these, just to put that out there. I did fix this. We went from this here to this balayage here in an in-salon training session. So for those of you that aren't Joico clients, jump on board because we do in-salon training. Just a little. But yeah, so This here was obviously someone who, I don't know if that it was a home job that has said that they've gone into a salon or whether it was a salon. I'm not going to comment on that. But as you can see, we've got like solid banding and painting that's come in. It's probably transferred through here. So the way in which we would have to correct something like that is we need to bring some, well in here what we did is we brought the blonde up. We did stick with our foliage because we wanted more control over where we were placing the colour and we needed more control. And then we've also gone in here with our base colour and we've ran it through to the ends. So we've actually kind of done it, the balayage technique to lighten up some of this ghastly yellow. And then we've toned it out and then added in low lights in between that to really break that up. And this was our end result. So yeah, it's all in your application, guys. If you've got any questions on how to correct any of this, please flick us a message and we'll run through on different ways that we can address that too. Okay, so now I'm going to get cracking because I'm chatty and I'll focus in now. So again, coming in, getting our tension in here.
So Carly, you use the back of your hand there as well
Yep.
for really that end application. Do you prefer that? Do you like using boards? Do you have a preference either way, or?
I don't like using boards. That's just personal preference because I've never been shown how to use a board. So yeah, again, if you're using a board, go for it. You'll find your own niche as to what fits and feels good with you. You don't have to use the back of your hand. Like I can do this as well, straight from the bowl, which I'll show you as well. So again, I'm happy with that. Now we just smooth that out. Yeah, coming in. I suppose like, you know, using the board, at least then you've got the back in there straight away. If you see anything like this hanging on the side, guys, get rid of it. You don't want that there. Okay, so back to my sandwich foiling. So look, when you're in salon, this should seriously like, shouldn't take too long. It should be charged. I know a lot of people say like, what do I charge for this? And balayage always takes so much longer. You know, I guess I would look at the time involved, what you're paying your stylist. So see this here, this is good when you go live. See that little blob there? We need to get rid of that. Use the say 3 teeth from your comb and let's just get rid of it. So that if you were to say create any arm which is too heavy and thick and you want to thin that out, use the 3 teeth at the tip of your comb and that'll thin that out for you and give you a softer line.
Great tip. So you'll be working through here. So she mentioned there the bottom here, you'll be balayage there, Carly, and then you'll move into your next section where you'll do more foliage.
Yeah, so I'm going to do foliage. Look, to be honest, I rarely just stick to one kind of technique whenever I'm doing a global balayage. I tend to like to mix it up a bit. So look, I've just come straight out of the bowl there. If I put my product on the side, again, making sure that I only have a shelf on one side. Same side, keeping my tensions down towards, don't move your fingers. A lot of people go to move their fingers. It's natural habit to not want to paint yourself, but try not to do it because then you'll lose your tension. So you can see here, the looser I am with my wrist, the better the result.
You're taking your sections as straight sections, Carls. What do you think of more of a zigzag sectioning?
So a zigzag would give you a better blend. So, well, I wouldn't say better actually, because mine's pretty good, but no, I'm just kidding. But it'll just, yeah, it just, again, you know how I've talked about safe proofing? If you're taking a zigzag section, you've created a bit of depth in between, so you're guaranteed not to create less of a line, I guess, you could say. So that's straight out of the bowl. Again, you can see I haven't gone up near my arms. If there's anything that needs correcting, I'll do it here and now. So one thing with lightening, guys, however you've lightened the hair, whenever your toners, I know some people like to hide mistakes with toners, and I'm a firm believer on that. With balayage, you shouldn't have to curl the hair to make it look good. It should be seamless straight. Yeah, generally we curl if we're seeing something we don't like. I'm like, oh, let's get rid of that.
So Carley, in mentioning that, and you also showed us the before and after over there a minute ago as well.
Yeah.
Is there any area where you wouldn't recommend a balayage service and you'd refuse a balayage service for a client?
Definitely. So if the hair is compromised, Dunk, it's still a lightening service. So if the hair is compromised, I would look at the elasticity and condition of the hair. And if that hair is compromised, I would refuse the service. Okay. Now, one thing I train in salon again is that never ever just refuse a service. You should always give options. So if I was to say to somebody, look, you can't have that today, I would then say, you can't have that today, but how about we put you onto a treatment regime? Let's have a look at it. Let's reassess it in, 8 weeks time and have a look at what the hair's doing. Always give them a solution or at least 2 solutions and options. Never ever just shut them down.
Really turn that negative into a positive there.
Yeah, that's right. And look, clients don't understand the science behind hair and why. They see so much on Instagram now going from, black to white, platinum blonde. So they believe and are under the assumption that it's achievable. And without you educating them, how do they know?
Okay, got a question from Jessie. Is this the way you do most of the time, or are there other techniques to achieve this look?
Okay, Jessie, so I'm going to show you, this is your free hand, okay? So I'm going to show you your foilage, and this is where we tease the hair. So what the teasing does, which will be on my next section actually, so good timing. What the teasing does is it just allows to create those highs and lows without you painting it on visually. So one thing though, when you're doing this, so this is your foilage, okay? So remembering I said through the veil, if you're going to do this sectioning, you want to tease and weave through here and through here. Why? That's where it's going to fall. And if you make any little mistakes in these areas, that's what you're going to be judged on, unfortunately. So this is where we don't want to make any mistakes.
Megan Robinson has shared her technique, which is nice. So I'll just read this out.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I do hot cross bun sections. Then and I like it. It's coming up to Easter. I like that a lot. Then one section from the back of the ear to the middle. Then the next section from the middle part to the middle of the previous section. Then the next section back the other way, meeting the middle section, the middle of the second section, and so on. It's such a pretty result. With the same painting techniques as you were doing. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Awesome. Very nice. We like it. Thank you.
Megan, are you able to pop a picture up on our Sabre C of some of your work? And maybe even when you're doing your technique and doing your hot cross bun section, maybe take a photo and show us through your progress.
We'd love to see that. That would be great.
Awesome.
All about sharing.
That's right, guys. And that's what this is about, creating a community forum so we can share ideas and, perfect the ones that we have. Okay, so the famous tease and weave foilage. So in here, we want to take the section a little bit thicker. Does anyone know why that would be?
I think our timing for people to reply, Carl's, is often, there's a bit of a lag, so we may get a reply, but it might be.
When we're teasing, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Why? This hair is coming from here down into here. This hair will come from there to there and there to there. If I just pump it at the roots, I'm going to potentially create banding. Just a little tip.
Jessie said, is it better to apply your Defy Damage Pro Series as you go or at the beginning in one go?
At the beginning, yeah. Because I've had her over there, but yeah, Jessie, thank you. Definitely always do it at the beginning, guys. That will take down your time. Okay, so when I do this, I've got my tease and weave. I pull this south and this north. Okay, so this, you know how we said before about the zigzag? This is basically what we've created with our weave in here. It's just a safe proof. We go in here. Now what I tend to do is I anchor down in here. Always allow yourself to have room to play. And then I just feed it up. And again, we want highs and lows, guys. So uneven zigzag, never or never this. I have seen a lot of people, you know, practice this. But again, like I said before, prevention is better than cure. So it's best to try not to create any lines. And the best way to do that is by not going in and applying the color on in a horizontal. Finger again, smooth in, flick that out, done. Sandwich.
Now, if you were to get your colour into some of that tease, is that where you're going to start to see some of that blowout, where you might get them?
Yeah, so say if they've done like a root stretch and now they're doing the blonde or vice versa. Yeah. So guys, remembering whenever you hit a demi or a tint with lightener, it will go warm in that area. So that might mean that, you know, our little sombre look over here where we've gone dark, medium, light, it might mean that you actually have to go in and do a sombre and do two different toners, one to cool down that band and two to then neutralize any warmth. Does that make sense? Did I answer that right?
Yep, sounds great.
Cool.
So can you tell us about any maintenance that you would be suggesting for people at home, Carls?
So I would actually refer them on to, I'll just smooth that down. That is a vital part of this. I would actually refer them on to our Joico Colour Balance Purple. So this is to neutralise any unwanted brassy yellow tones. Really, really good. It's paraben free as well. I use it in my hair and it gives like, look, blondes never have a shine, unfortunately, but look at this shine in here. And I have actually, guys, because I have no hair, I've actually put Rise Up to add more human texture. So that's a powder, and normally powders dull my hair down, like, and as they would, but no, it's plumped it up and I still have shine, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Love it.
And if you say had anyone that had highlights and their hair was like at a level 7 and it's a bit brassy being coppery, we also have a blue. So this will help to neutralize those brassy coppery tones. Please don't use this on a blonde because yellow and blue will create green. Okay.
That's it. I might just take the camera up here. Dunk, maybe you could come and talk us through some of this stuff while Carl's just moves
so
moves
basically
ahead.
we've got, so guys, this will take us through the new colour balance. So with the new colour balance, we've got the new smart release technology with it. So not only does it give you that amazing tonal quality with the violet and the blue counteracting yellow and orange, but you've also got now the reconstructing properties of smart release. It has arginine, it also has mono oil, so it has those great ingredients that will nourish and really add the elasticity and shine to hair that is, you know, particularly blondes. Through here, as you can see, just runs through, you know, again, what each will neutralize, our violet with the yellow, etc. Our blue, of course, and then we also have green tea extract as UV and UV absorbers. Green tea is an incredible antioxidant, so it's fantastic for ensuring that that colour really stays in your hair, really maintains it for us. Guys, for any little questions that you might have, and we'll post this as well, we have a little Q&A, so that'll touch on some information for us as well. Any questions that you might have regarding those type of products. Key thing is, pop it in. If you leave it in shampoo and leave that shampoo in for, you know, 3 to up to 5 minutes, it will give you a stronger tonal quality. And also the conditioner, using that conditioner after, will really lock it in and maintain the longevity of that tone as well. So great little combinations, great combos to use for really maintaining and controlling your blondes there, your balayage looks.
Great. We can post that fact sheet into our C forum after this event, so you'll be able to read all of that. How are we going there, Carls?
Yeah, good, hon. So just still on my tease and weave, and then I'll get into the side section.
So,
Have a little
Carls,
roll
can I just ask as well, when you're doing your tease and weave there, how high will you go up close to the scalp, particularly to your teased area there?
Okay, so guys, you don't ever want to go over the top of that teasing. If you go over the top of the teasing, I'm gonna have to fold that one. If you go over the top of that teasing, what's going to happen is we don't know where that hair is going to fall, okay? So you can create blobbing and blotching if you touch that teasing, so please always stay under your teasing. Now, as for where you start your saturation, my rule of thumb is if I have my saturation here, on my next section, I either want to go higher or lower than that. Because remember, if we start at that same point every time, we end up with this. Well, that's pretty bad, but yeah, you get the gist.
Yeah, great point. So with everything, find that point of saturation, vary it with each time, with each application or each foil that you're putting through there.
Yeah.
Great.
And again, like I said before, the smoothing that you do with your finger is such a good way. It just softens those lines. I've seen TAFE students before freak out when I've been at TAFE and training, and they're like, oh my God, Carly, like, look at this, that's going to stand out, what do I do? And I said, get your finger, smooth it out. And even just then, when they see that, like the arms start to thin right out, they're amazing. And yeah, so it becomes it's a kit, it's your toolkit.
But wear gloves.
Oh, that sounds funny.
Wear gloves.
Wear gloves, yes, see, gloves.
So, Carly, working through, you're using, your Blonde Life and 20 volume there today, 1 to 1.5 mix,
Yep.
I know is your favourite there.
Yeah.
But with that, I know you use, other products in the salon.
Yep.
With other areas, what else would you use and why?
So I would use my Vero Light. Vero Light lifts up to 8 levels. It's a little bit gentler than like Blonde Life. And so I would use that in areas where, say, the hair may be a little bit more compromised. If I'm trying to clean out some tone out of the hair as well, I would use it on finer hair because finer hair lightens and darkens quicker. Yeah.
And it'll give you a little bit more control, so it's not going to lift quite as quickly as Blonde Life will.
Yeah.
Yeah, great idea.
But Blonde Life fan, I'm not gonna lie.
As so many people are.
Yeah.
Live the Blonde Life.
Yeah.
So one thing you mentioned there before, was, if you get a band.
Yeah.
So in working through, and we know everyone's not perfect, you get a foil leak, you get a band or something like that. So how do you go about fixing that? What do you do in that scenario?
So depending on how big the band is, I would, say if, again, coming back over here, guys, I call this a dip as well. I'll explain what I'm talking about when I say a dip. But with a band, what you want to do is you need to bring some of that dark in amongst that light, and you do it in a super baby light fine weave to break that saturation up. So therefore we're now blending that line out, okay? And that blonde needs to come up higher as well. So we want to break up that line. So we need blonde to come higher, dark to come lower. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. So effectively you're doing your balayage still, changing the ups and downs, your highs and lows, and you're putting a low light in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can see, which is kind of actually really cool, that little wave in there.
I love that little curve.
Isn't it? Yeah. We're just going to keep that. But you can see the difference, all right? So this is what she obviously was before I coloured her, and then this is her after. Okay, just so you get a good, true idea of the differences in depth. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do in here. So I'm now going to do some face framing because that's the in thing. Now what I want to do is I'm going to actually target my face framing first. So I'll get out my sectioning and I follow that around the hairline. So you can see it's diagonal back around the hairline. So from here, only ever work on sections that you can control. If I can't control that section as one, I'm not going to paint it, okay? I will divide it. And that's even in whenever you're doing, say, a structured foil. Another thing as well, do not go over any already pre-lightened areas. Okay, cool. So this is the fun when you're doing your face framing and your freehand technique, is that it's all visual, guys. So in here, I'm going to simply, where my product is, I'm going to paint it on. So I'm going to go, you know what? I actually want it up in here. I want it a little bit heavier. So I'm creating basically a slope, okay? I don't want it to all be in the one area, so I'm still going to break that up.
You're on that mountain again.
I am on the mountain, the snow. Maybe I need to go to the snow. Maybe that's why it keeps coming back, Doug.
That's it.
So I'm just breaking that up.
Now, Carley, doing that, you're doing it at the start here from there, you're doing it sort of on the top of the section. Do you ever work it in reverse and maybe do the rest of your top area and then work it back off the facing, so as you're putting it right on the front of the actual, of the hair shaft?
Run that by me again.
Sorry, so do you ever sort of turn it around so you're over and applying to this side of the hair?
Yeah, you can do. Like if I wanted to,
Yep.
and I wanted to make, I haven't done that on that other side, but
Yep.
if I wanted to make this more dramatic, yeah, I can simply just go in and then paint it
Yep.
underneath. And that just, as you can see, creates a heavier saturation. And then I'm still going to smooth in there to make sure there's no blobs. Sorry, darling. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that'll
it
just
comes
give-
back to customizing it to what your client wants. So I've kind of went for, again, I've got this beautiful blend. I didn't want a pop
Yeah.
right on top. So that's why I've gone for like just the underneath.
Yeah.
But if your client is someone who wears her hair back a lot, then perhaps you would do more of that underside, as Dunk was saying.
Yeah, and you always want to make sure that, you know, it's nice and smooth, like the last thing you want. And that's why we stick to the vertical. So by putting this on here like this, we're guaranteeing, well, depending on how much product, let me just put that little clause in there, but we're almost guaranteeing that we've got a beautiful blend on both sides.
Okay, so Jessie has asked, do you ever find it doesn't lift well only painting lightener on one side of the section?
Again, this is like a surface colouring, so I'm not really chasing both sides, but yeah, Jessie, if I wanted it to be heavier and more noticeable and have more saturation, I would definitely do both.
So this is obviously quite freehand what you're doing around the face.
Yeah.
What if you are a little bit anxious about doing this? Have you any other techniques for around the face that might be a little bit more fail-safe?
Yeah, definitely. So after I do this one, I actually will go back to my tease and weave. So I'll soften again. So I've done my pop of colour where I want it to kind of sit underneath, and if I do this, you can see, like, look at that blend in there. Yeah?
Yeah, beautiful.
So she can wear that back and there's still not heavy lines. Yeah, so has that helped? I've also got, I've also got in here where I'm just going to now do a pop around the face, so I'm still following that diagonal back. Now guys, with your balayage, remember, it is exactly perfectly imperfect, okay? So the more uneven your application is, the better the results.
This is where you need a taller cameraman. I'm on my toes here.
And not a giraffe or a stylist, right?
You've got it covered there, Abby.
Oh dear. I'm only the shortest person in the office.
We have the best of both worlds happening right here. Oh, too funny. You'll notice as well that when I'm doing this, you've probably seen that I actually, I move the colour towards myself. Has anyone picked up on that yet? So the reason why I'm flicking towards myself is that this ensures that the mass of my product is back here, not up in here. Next one.
Probably keeps it a little bit cleaner as well, the way you're working that way too, Carly. So keeping it away from your client.
Yeah, and that's why whenever you do a balayage, I would always suggest, guys, wear your apron, because the amount of clothes that I have destroyed when I get creative in my flicks and my sweeps, yeah. Okay, so anyway, now from here, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go behind that. Now I might leave like a little veil of hair in between just to help break that up as well, so it's not so full on. Blondes just want to join us. Okay, so in here you could do a tease. So this is your, if you're to do like say a standard foilage without the weave, I would come in and I would do my application just in there like that. So see how I'm flicking again towards myself. I then put this underneath. You can see as well, like on those ends, I tend to like spread it out and move it around. That just again ensures that I've got underneath as well. So this will give me a softer, finer result than my freehand. So if you go from, if we're looking at saturation from heaviest to lightest, it would go freehand, heaviest saturation, your foilage with teasing, medium saturation, tease and weave foilage, lighter saturation, okay? If that helps.
I love that, yeah. So particularly when you're looking at texture of hair, you can really sort of adjust it for what you've got then as well, Carly. So if you're going to be dealing with a light, you're going to be doing more foilage really probably throughout that result.
Yeah, that's right.
And will this work just as well if you had someone who was moving into hair colour, maybe a virgin hair? Could you do this using permanent colour, or what would you always go in with lightener? What would you do?
If I was to do it, again, because of control and because of more control really, I would, if someone came to me and they had say a tint in their hair and I wanted to get it quite light, I would go in with a tease foilage because I've got more control over it, and you can go a little bit heavier. When I say heavier, guys, heavier as in saturation onto the hair with your foilage, because you've got that teasing which will give you your blend, okay? Whereas if you do freehand, you can't go too heavy with your saturation on freehand because it may transfer. Or it can create blotching too.
So the old age question then, Carl, when it comes to maintenance of this, your client comes back in next time, how do you look to maintain these clients when they're returning?
So whenever a client comes in and they're a pre-existing balayage client, I would actually do a foilage. So it would be a combination of tease and weave. Yeah, and again, it's because I've got more control. Because of that tease, I can then saturate an area and blend an area this wide, as opposed to, if I was to try and freehand that and stick within my guidelines and not go over my pre-lightened ends, it's going to be hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like time is money, and not only that, we want to make sure that we're keeping the hair in its best condition.
So, Carly, if I ask you, what are your 3 top tips for balayage? What would they be?
Okay, So top tip number 1 would be tension. Coming in here, do not pinch. Keep it flat, smooth, and keep that tension to that V. Okay, so see how it's nice and flat? I haven't pinched it. If I pinch, when that hair unfolds, I don't know where that color is and I push color off that inside. Okay, so we come in, I guide it in with my thumbs and I keep it flat. My next would be, if I want to get my greatest level of lift, I would use foil. Okay, so freehand and open air techniques are great. They really do give you that sun-kissed look, but it's very subtle too, okay? So if your client is wanting a little bit more of a pop, you need to make sure that that you're conducting the heat and you're going to get the greatest lift that you can possibly achieve. And 3 would be my trusty towel. Always have a wet towel on hand so that way you can clean your hands in between. Because as you've seen, I use my little pinky a lot. So it's just good to have that on hand for smoothing. And if I was to go for a full head of balayage and not have my towel on hand, you can imagine the product build up that this guy would have. So yeah, it'd get everywhere. It wouldn't be a good time for me or the client.
So Carley, in the salon, I mean, look, I know we don't sort specifics on pricing and that sort of thing, but have you got any tips on for people how they can work out how to charge, or how do they price their balayage?
So I guess that comes back to how you want to sell your balayage. Do you want to sell your balayage as as a quicker service for giving you saturation? Oops. There goes that one. Quicker service for saturation, or do you want to then create it yourself as a balayage specialist and then charge a little bit extra because now this is a creative technique that not everyone can perfect? So it just comes back to, what I always say to my salons is look at the time that your stylist takes in doing the service and then make sure that you are not selling yourself short. So time, product, and make sure, you're not selling yourself short. Whoops. Yeah, and it's each individuals too, Duncan was handing me that, I'm in my zone. Thanks, Duncan, I wasn't ignoring you there, you should have just said, come here.
You had it covered.
So the trend is, as we're sort of increasingly seeing, moving more into warms curls. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I found that the ashen and grey blondes are starting to go. So we're starting to go for warmer golden blondes. We're going for even coppers are making a comeback really. If you have a look on Instagram and all of our platforms where we promote hair, they're all starting to make a comeback, which is great because, again, this technique is all about sun-kissed, and when you're out in the sun, your hair doesn't naturally go cool, does it?
No, that's right. Okay, Jessie has said, if you were wanting to take the client lighter each session, what's the best way to do this? Would you use the same technique?
So Jessie, I would use the same technique, and avoid any areas that I've hit already, unless you're trying to, say it's artificial colour that you're trying to bring up, then I would target the exact same areas that I've already hit, so I'm getting lighter and lighter each time.
But obviously using Defy Damage.
Using Defy Damage,
almost goes without saying,
okay,
but
for those that think that I'm just going to go in and look at the health of the hair first. Always do a hair analysis and check out the condition of the hair. And if the condition of the hair cannot withstand lightening, we don't lighten. Simple as that. We put our brakes on as professionals and say, this is as far as we can go. Sorry about that. Sometimes we have to be the buzz killers.
Okay, so we're coming up to our last section there, looks like.
Yep, one more after this.
One
and
more.
We're going to process.
So Carly, you talk about three-tone balayage as
Yep.
well. Can you tell me about that?
So the 3 tones dunk would be this one here, and this is actually our Sabre. So remember, balayage being natural, sun-kissed, 2 levels of lightning. In here you may have like say up to 3, 4 levels, but you're going say from a level 6, 8, 9 or 10. So we've got 3 levels of tone. And then we have our ombre, and with this you can see it's completely dark, contrasting in light. Okay, and you can go as crazy as you like here. This is where our colour intensities are good. We can go purple, rose gold, pink, whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat.
You'll see some gorgeous ones with that sort of thing on our Sabre Education Experience.
Oh yeah.
Michaela Jade has some beautiful work there in doing that sort of work. Carolyn Gahan, of course, Felicity Bruce. You'll also see some from Emma Cocker in the future as well. So guys, yeah, some beautiful work on that sort of thing as well in the future.
Guys, yeah, if you guys have just jumped on recently to our page, please go back and check out the works. It's like free education with amazing guest artists, and you're only going to better yourself. And then you can choose your own prices.
That's what we like.
Yeah, that's what we want. Show me the money. Okay, so this is our last section here. See how I'm very loose with my wrist and my fingers? Like, this is really good. It's when you do this that you create heavy lines. So try. What I want you to do for those that haven't given this technique a go, I want you, before you actually do your first section, just do this, just play. And then, look, if you make a mess of the one underneath, that's okay. Like, practice with this makes perfect, but the more free you can be with your wrist, the better the result. All right. Cool. Danke. So that is our lovely, we'll call her Jessica. That is Jessica done for today. Always find out your client's name at the start. Yeah, so we're going to let her process. Does anyone have any other questions? And then what we'll do is we'll put an after shot of how it turns out. Yeah, thanks guys.
Awesome.
So guys, thank you, Carol. Carly, where'd that come from? Thank you, Carly, for that great breakdown, guys, of perfectly imperfect. I think, working through some of those hints and tips, north and south, okay, getting up there, where to use a foil, where not to, really breaking it down, I think just makes it so clear for anyone really getting into this technique. So thank you, Carly, so much. That was really awesome, guys. So guys, again, enjoy Sabre Education Experience. Please share your work on there as well.
Yes,
all those hints and tips that you've got, so we can all learn together. Okay, thank you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you again shortly.
Thanks. Bye.